There we go.
Hi, thanks for giving me this opportunity to present design proposal for Megaprint. So Megaprint is a company which works in printing industry from last 50 years, and they provide the large banners for printing for B2B customers in locations like US, Canada, Spain, and Ireland. The objective which they are looking from this design is like they would like to remove their error-prone manual onboarding process. They wanted to have a deep provisioning enablement in the system and wanted to have an integrated system. And in order to achieve this objective, below are the processes which we are going to discuss soon. As there is no regulation, collaboration, process, security constraint, which is forcing me to go towards multi-org, I am proposing a single org strategy here. And as there is a need of multi-currency, I am proposing it to be there, as well as multi-language with the platform features such as translation workbench, community language picker, VF email template, and custom labels. I have had few consideration while working on this design proposal. So I have assumed that there won't be any budget constraint, but we need to make sure that we use it wisely. Then a CAD system can be updated to propose the to support the Canvas integration. I'm assuming that print technician and the print support people are the same, and banners will have a unique ID. So now let's talk about the system landscape. So I am taking an API-led approach in order to integrate via ESB and ETL instead of point-to-point to provide the integration requiring orchestration, bulk migration, data processing, protocol conversion, etc., as well as access to internet for the on-prem system. So as this Salesforce org is a single org, internal users are going to get access to it via core sales and service cloud with features such as chatter, email to case, and chat enabled on it, with add-ons such as CRM analytics for trend reporting and data Einstein data capture for Outlook email sync. We will also install few App Exchange products such as Xfiles Pro for accessing the files from network drive, form assembly for creating a form on website, charge and for payment. Conga Composer would be used for creating the documents, Conga Sign for signing those, and SMS Magic for sending an SMS to the customers. We'll have my domain, which will help in external authentication, and we'll have JWT bearer flow with mutual TLS to streamline the linking of ESB and ETL with Salesforce. With this security in place, it is going to give a defense in depth to the system. The internal users are going to get authenticated via Okta, that is a cloud-based identity provider, and its identity is being managed in Active Directory, and we are going to use the SAML 2.0 to do the single sign-on. For external users, we are going to provide them access via username and password, but they can occasionally use OIDC to authenticate themselves from LinkedIn and Google. Then we have a couple of mobile application, like customers will be accessing tablet, which would be a native app. A reason being, we need to have a good amount of caching available in the system, and it would be a web server flow with Pixie to authorize to this app. Internal users such as ESR people will get access to this internal Salesforce mobile app, and they are going to get authorized via web server flow with Pixie with SAML. Now the strategies in place for mobile security identity. Let's now talk about the services we have. So we have SAP system, which will be connected to Salesforce via ESB, and ESB is needed because it is going to do the protocol conversion as well as orchestration, and I'm using MuleSoft for the purpose of that. Then we'll have a CAD system, which is connected to Salesforce via sign request as well as ESB for the integration purposes, and it is connected to the network drive. Then we are deprecating a couple of systems like Microsoft Dynamics CRM and couple of Salesforce CRM, and both are being connected via ETL so as to have the data transferred to Salesforce as well as EDW. Lastly, this EDW is also connected via ETL. That would be helpful for freeing up the hot storage of Salesforce by archiving that data, and that data from EDW can be retrieved in Salesforce in external object via Salesforce Connect if needed via ESB. We have a couple of things like website is connected directly as well as Outlook. Now let's move to actors and licensing. So we have few internal and external actors which are helping out this customer. So we have venue operator, which is around 60K users. They are going to get CC plus license because of reporting and sharing requirements. Then event customers will get the CC because they need to access portal as well as create cases. Partner sales rep and their management, which are around 500 users, are going to get sales license with reason being advanced lead management and sales processes. PSR people will get Service Cloud Voice to call to provide them the calling feature, and management people will get the CRM analytics for trend reporting. Then we have venue admin user, which are around 20K. They are going to get CC plus because of the delegated admin permission they need. Then venue users will get CC license because of the portal access they need, and they'll be around 400,000 users. Internal users, next internal users are print technician and their management people, which are around 7K users, and they are going to get the service license because of the advanced case management features, including entitlement. And they are going to that means management people will going to get CRM analytics for trend reporting, and technician will get the Service Cloud Voice for calling features. Similarly, event sales rep will also get Service Cloud Voice, but ESR themselves and their management people will get sales license for the lead access to lead. In terms of role hierarchy, we'll have CEO at the top of the role hierarchy to view the entire data of the organization. Then there are two different branches reporting to the CEO. First is like technician management people, and there would be print technician, which are going to report to the technician management. Then the other is the global field sales team management, which is divided into PSR team, and then PSR people will have management people. Under those, there would be PSR reporting to the management, and the external users like venue admin and operator are going to report to the PSR. And then we have ESR, that is event sales rep people. Those are divided in the regional basis, and under that regional basis, we'll have a local ESR people as well. Now let's move to the ERD. So I am going with the concept of least privilege, that is private OWD by default. Black boxes are standard object, blue are custom object, black arrows are lookup, and red arrows are master detail. So this process actually start with PSR team member getting a lead. It could be related to a venue or maybe customer or referral. So these people are going to qualify that lead, and that lead is now being converted to account. Before that, the reason of choosing lead for those prospect is that it is one of the standard object which is well suited for this purpose. Once this lead is converted to account, contact, and opportunity, we can move forward with the process of this banners creation and selling. So we have accounts. So account are of three record types. So first is print location. I am going to give print location as an account. Then we have business. For customers and operator are also one of the record type of accounts. Those are being owned by PSR as well as technicians. Volume of these account is like 270K, and we'll have account teams in place for sharing needs for these accounts. Then we have contact, which are around 660K users owned by PSR team member. On sales side, we have opportunity, and then we have code for negotiation and order for selling purposes. We'll have product, price book, and price book entry for managing the sales. Product has a self lookup to itself, because there could be like a first selection of type of banner, and then there would be multiple specification like size and all. So that's where I am creating it as a self lookup. Next is like each and every event which is going to be a custom object is going to happen on a location that is a venue, and I am going to repurpose this standard location object for venue. And then once this order has been placed for a venue for an event, we need to have banners to be created, and those banners are being denoted as an asset standard object. And that's where I assume that each and every banner will have a unique ID. And we are not going to reuse those banner because those are personalized and created for a particular event. Then we have payment information being kept into the payment transaction object, that is a part of a chargent object. I'm not showing all the chargent objects here. Then an order could be fulfilled by multiple jobs which will be created. That would be a multiple print jobs. Through that, those banners can be created, and each print job could be associated to one or multiple print location. That's where we have a junction object between both the objects, like print job and location. And venue can have a defined set of product which can be assigned to that particular venue. That's where there is a junction between venue and product. On service side of thing, we have case. It's owned by technician. Those are around 3 million users and records of case. And we have milestone as well as entitlement for SLA processes. And we'll have work order as well as work order line item where technician will be helping via those cases. Now let's talk about the large data volume. So there is a risk to the system due to this large data volume, because this the object with such the huge data can actually impact the system's performance, including the reporting, query performance, as well as list view. So I have had few mitigation plan for these objects. Like for case, I am going to index use the leverage the standard indexing as well as custom indexing if needed, and we'll be using skinny table as well for this case, and we'll archive those case records every year. uh, then for asset, order line item, and quote line item, I am going to propose using indexing as well as archival when needed, if not every year. But just to let you know that there won't be any skinny table option available for the um, for these objects. Now let's move to the business requirement. So it start with the general pain points. So there are a couple of pain points that Megaprint has. First pain point is like they have issues with the manual process of employees uh, authentication. That's where we have proposed the identity provider that is Okta, and that is going to be used for the same purposes. And then for the deep provisioning, that is the termination of user, that needs to happen automatically. That's where I am proposing the same that can be handled by Okta using the SCIM protocol. Then there is a third pain point which this organization has, and this pain point is related to the deployments. That's where they are facing issues with the error prone deployment and script which they have, and they would like to have this process to be automated. That's where I'm proposing ALM. That's where we'll be having scratch orgs for each and every developer they are working on, and we are going to leverage CI/CD via GearSet, as well as there would be a source control using Bitbucket, and each and every developer is going to work on their particular scratch org. Once that is done, they are going to push the changes via pull request to a feature branch using a daily commit, and that's where the code review will happen. And for this entire deployment, as already told, there would be a automated process using GearSet, where whenever this feature branch is merged to dev, the code will be sent to the respective sandboxes like dev, QA, uh, sandboxes, Q and UAT, and staging sandboxes, whenever those has been passed. And after that, it will be tagged to release and then to master, so that it can be deployed to production. And for hotfix, I am proposing a hotfix branch as well as hotfix sandbox. Now let's move forward. So the next process is is associated to the venue onboarding. So this venue onboarding start with the PSR people end up calling the prospective venue users. So I'm assuming that those record has already been in system, that is lead has already been created, and now account and contact has already created for those prospective customers, prospective venue operators. So when PSR people identify that these people are now ready to have access to system, that's where they are going to enable their portal user by a couple of clicks on the account record itself and giving them access to the Salesforce. As these portal users, that is operators admin, are going to get the CC plus license with delegated admin permission, they are going to end up creating multiple contacts associated to their account in the system. But there has to be a limit of 20, or I'll say the limit can be anything, and that limit will be defined by the PSR people. So 1 second, I'm just refreshing it. There has been a small change. Sorry for doing this. Yeah. So if you'll see, there are a couple of fields which I mentioned in account. So there is a field called limit. So that field will be used for the purpose of this. So, and that will be controlled by field level security, as well as there would be a validation rule. So by any chance, if someone get access to this field, they won't be able to modify anything on it. And as soon as these administrator people are going to create multiple records of this contact, they can end up means they will actually end up getting a custom validation that would be via after flow triggered on the contact creation if that number of user is more than what the limit actually allows them to create. Next is like partner sales rep will actually assign up this venue to a primary print location. That's where there will be a lookup on account of lookup of venue, lookup on venue for account that would be associating that venue to the print location. And to help them, they will actually be seeing a LWC component which will have a map view. So I'll be using a lightning map component of Salesforce, so as to give them a visual aid so that they can identify which is the nearest print location, and that print location record will have a geolocation information captured as well. Next is like the onboarding during this onboarding process, they would like to assign a available technician which is associated to the venues print location, but I am assuming that there will be multiple technician. That's where we have to choose a available technician from. So those multiple technician will be managed in the account teams, and we can identify the available technician using omni-channel capacity based routing and then associate that to the venue. Now next is like venue rendering can be done using CAD system. So that's where we are going to leverage the canvas based integration which we have. So this the technician are going to go to the means they using the using a click of a button on the venue itself, they can end up going to the CAD system where they can end up doing the venue rendering, so that this information can be captured within the CAD network drive. Then technician and PSR people can end up finalize the sizing option as well as the pricing, and so that they can make them available. So that's where I have proposed this junction object between product and venue, so that they can end up deciding which all type of products are available for a venue. And yeah, pricing would be based on the multiple sizes as well as the options of products. Next requirement talks about the PSR people will be able to view all the partner account, but they cannot edit, they can only edit their own account. That's why I am proposing a criteria based sharing rule. So I am going to create a public group for all the PSR representatives, and then uh, OWD of the account is set to private, so that they won't be able to access sorry so they won't so only it will be set to private, and then they will only be able to edit the accounts that they themselves own. Next, now after this onboarding process, now let's talk about how actually this event sales process happens. So it starts with the fact that on the website there will be a download information. So I'm assuming that this information is already being captured on website, on a server of the website, I'll say. So they have those documents which can be downloaded. So when a user clicked to download that information from the website, they will end up getting a form using a form assembly. When they fill that form, that will end up creating a lead record in Salesforce. I considered using web to lead, but due to the limit of 1,000 inquiries per day, it is more than what the web to lead can support. That's why I have to go with the app exchange product of form assembly, and these lead record will be owned by the ESR team members. That would be via queue, and then they can pick a particular record if they want. Then another way of creation of these customer inquiry could be via referral from vendors. So that will also end up being created as a leads. Uh, and those leads needs to be assigned to the ESR member if those ESR people, if any ESR people is there who have worked on the related user. So that means to say, if a lead record has been created, we'll be using a record trigger flow that will end up searching that if there is any contact exists or not. If such contact exists, it will find the last event record associated to that contact and associate this lead to the owner of that event record. That would be a technician. If referral record which has not been identified by the above process, that has not been assigned to any ESR, if not been picked within 24 hours, then I'll be using the same record trigger flow to send the notification, to create a schedule action that will be used to send a notification, as well as send a notification to the ESR management, so that they can manually assign this to a particular ESR person. Next, event sales process start with the event sales representative sending an email. So I am going to create an email from the Salesforce itself. Sorry, you that from the Salesforce, but that document will be created using detailed PDF of the venue banner options, and that is going to be captured using the information being captured from the CAD system. So that's where the use of Expels Pro will come into picture, so that those images can be fetched. And once that email has been created and sent, I am going to send a link. That link will be linked to an LWC component. Whenever a user clicks on that link, it will end up updating a value within the system so as to identify that that link has actually been clicked, so that a task can be created using the same LWC component, and then ESR people can call that person to have a follow-up schedule using the task record. Then next requirement talks about that they, due to the fact that they are very high turnover, there is a high turnover, so they for the ESR team, so they would like to have a guidance for them at every step. That's where there are multiple approaches which I am proposing. First would be use of a path. So from path they can know what would be the next steps. There would be multiple fields with help text enabled, as well as we are going to use the guided flow. But there is another piece that would be a part of change management. That's where they need to they'll get access to the training portal at the time of onboarding, so that they'll get to know using the my trailhead what type of how to operate the system, and how to adopt to the system. And that's where change management team will also help them to give them appropriate training whatever needed. Next, when working with the customer to select the banner for the event sales rep should be able to quickly limit the view. So that's where I am going to uh, uh, leverage the same junction object which we have created, that will only show the record associated to the venue for a type of banner which are available. Then next requirement talks about that repeat customer will have an image information that has already been captured on the CAD system. So that information can easily be fetched using the Xfiles Pro. That would be run using a name principle, and it can end up showing the information associated to the record. And as this information is being captured in this network drive in a folder structure, I am assuming that folder is as per the record IDs of the Salesforce record. Next, after this event sales process, let's talk about how this ordering process works. So there are two SAP systems which are being used, and there are multiple duplicate record as well as data inconsistency in the systems. So that's where we are going to leverage the ETL, and there will be deduplication of data that needs to happen on the ETL. So that will actually do the cleanup part, and it will treat the data as, means ETL will work as a MDM here, and it will end up cleaning, standardize the record, and it will keep the golden copy at the staging table, and update the SAP system so that those duplicate records as well as data inconsistency can be removed. Next is like they would like to have all the system to have a local currency, and that is USD, but but they would like to have the information of the all the transaction that has been closed to be updated with the exchange rates. That's where I am proposing to use advanced currency management, and this exchange rates are going to be entered into the Salesforce via SAP, from SAP via the integration that would be batch data sync integration from SAP via ESB. That's this integration first number, and that would be a monthly batch to update the Salesforce, and I'm going to leverage the REST API to do so. Then next requirement talks about that there are, as soon as there needs to be a order that has been placed, there needs to be a 20% of the deposit that needs to be collected. So that's where I am leveraging the chargent, and that chargent can, being a PCI compliant tool, they can end up credit card information on the payment gateway hosted page, that is a chargent gateway hosted page. um, uh, and those information won't, means credit card information would be saved, only the tokenization information will be saved within the chargent, and that's how we'll be able to leverage it. And uh, And if a person would like to reuse the saved card, that tokenized information will be used, and only the last four digits will be visible. Using that, they can end up choosing the card to do the future payments. For premium customers, there would be a checkbox, not checkbox, pick list on the account record itself, that would be end up being updated by the ESR people. So they will actually update this premium status value on the account record, and that is being controlled by FLS as well as validation rules, so that no one else can update it. For if there is a premium customer, and this will, and this value will be keep on updated, sorry, my bad. So if this checkbox, the status been marked as a premier customer, and there is no outstanding amount, outstanding invoice from any of the order that has been created more than 30 days, so there would be a batch class which will keep on running, checking this information. And if there is no such thing found, they will update a checkbox called is waived, is deposit waived, so that 20% payment won't be needed for any such premium customers. Next, they wanted to have SAP to be updated. uh, each CRM needs to update this submitted order information to SAP, and SAP supports a different type of API, that is a BAPI API, and that needs to be done. So there I am proposing a integration, that is an integration that would be based on a remote invocation fire and forget pattern from Salesforce, using a record trigger flow on order, that will create a platform event, and send that platform and event information to ESB, and then ESB will do the orchestration as well as protocol conversion to send the relevant information to the relevant SAP. For each closed deals, we need to send the information, including the quantities as well as banner sold and total amount information and all, to SAP system. That's where I'm going to leverage the same type of pattern of the integration, using a different platform event on opportunity to initiate the ESB to know that there is something happening. I mean, such close deal has happened, and that's where ESB will then use a remote call in to fetch all the information associated to these multiple objects from Salesforce, and then send that information to SAP system. And that integration is not being shown in the table. Then there is a information that there would be a downtime of 24 to 72 hours in SAP system, and due to this unplanned outages there could be issues. So that's where we are using the platform event, there is a replay ID, so event can be played back, and thus error handling can be easily done at ESBN, and thus replay ID will be available within the sales will still be valid for 72 hours, and we can easily leverage those things. I actually considered using of outbound message, but outbound message needs SOAP API, as well as there would be a 24 hours continuous check that if message has been successful, but there is a need of replay ID, so that playback can happen, that outbound message doesn't provide. The next requirement talks about the system should route the close detail deals to the print location. So that's where I am going to create an order, and associated to that order I am going to create a print job, and that print job is associated to the print location via print job location record. That would be done automatically using a record trigger flow on the order creation. And then next requirement talks about that ESR should not have access to the other team's data, but they would like to but should have access to the data associated to their local team. That's where, as we have 50 local teams, I am going to propose a 50 owner based sharing rules on these objects, so that the 50 different groups will be created, and using those owner based sharing rule we are able to assign the record, so that these ESR people will have access to those. Optionally, the customers can actually end up using the social sign on to log in to the devices as well as desktops. So I am going to propose the standard Salesforce authentication provider by leveraging those two. Um, for Google and LinkedIn, and we are going to then use the registration handler, which is going to map, which will actually check if that user exists with the same email ID or not. If that, then it will link this social account so that those people can easily get access to Salesforce. And I'll be also updating the Experience Cloud settings so that the login via LinkedIn as well as Google button will be enabled. Then they wanted to have a mobile device should not constantly be prompt for authentication credential. That's where I am going to use the refresh token on the native app which I have created. And now let's talk about the banner image creation. So uh, print technician are going to leverage the CAD system as they did previously to have those banner image creation, and information from SAP to CAD can be sent via ESB using a remote call-in integration. I'm assuming CAD will be able to support remote call-in, which has been sent from SAP. Then CAD systems too has such a huge um, petabyte of storage. That's where I don't want to remove those network drives. I am going to propose Xfiles Pros to access that information within Salesforce. While each customer has a private network folder that's already been talked about. So I'm assuming that those folders are being associated to the account ID and all. Then Megaprint wanted to have uh, information sharing, I'll say, and that collaboration can be done using the use of chatter to put the instruction directly on the order. When technician has the right combination of banner offering, they would like to have those information being signed. So that's where I am proposing to have use the Conga composer to create those documents first, so to have those pixel perfect documents being created, and then we are going to leverage the Conga sign to have those things signed, so that we'll have the information associated to the auditing fields, like when those document has been signed captured. And I am going to capture this information on code object. When this code has been signed, uh, that's where there will be a request to have a deposit needs to be paid. So and the system should log any changes. That's where we are going to use a custom validation exception whenever there is a event of updating an opportunity. That exception will be thrown, that no one can now allow to update the lead, update the opportunity record via record trigger flow using our invocable action. And and when the deal is signed, so we are going to use the Conga sign transaction record that is going to be used to update the status of opportunity to closed one. And we are going to use validation rule as well for the same purposes. Then we have banner printing operation. So it start with a release print job should automatically instruct that CAD system that they need to fulfill the print job. That's where we have integration via ESB to CAD system using a fire and forget mechanism using a platform event, so that that information can easily be sent to the CAD system, and then CAD system can end up sending the information to the print job using a remote call into Salesforce to updating the status of the print job record. When the status of this print job has been updated to ready for printing, we can link it to the it will be updated by that remote call, and then there is a capacity being mentioned on all the location, that is the account record, and we can end up calculating the number of jobs that can be done. That is we are able to define that agreed ship date can be used, can be leveraged or not. Then next is like they are working on this time sensitive business, and they cannot afford to have the errors in the system, and that's where they want to have the deployment process to have working perfectly well as system should function as expected. So that's where we'll have as already explained about the deployment process. So we are going to use the uh, VS Code plugin with SFDC plugin, as well as we'll have static code analysis as well as Apex and mock stub, so as to verify that best coding standards has been followed, as well as code has been static. There won't be any static code issues in the code, and we are going to do multiple testing on each and every sandbox. Like on dev sandbox, we are going to do the smoke build, then regression testing, and we'll be checking the integrated code. On QA sandbox, there would be a manual testing as well as regression and automated testing using Selenium. On UAT, that is a partial copy. The reason of taking it as a partial copy, because I am going to perform a load testing as well as migration on a full copy, that is a staging sandbox. So on this partial UAT copy, I'm going to do a business user acceptance testing as well as automation testing using Selenium and regression testing. And load testing can be done using load runner and creating a case at Salesforce, as well as we'll be performing the dress rehearsal on this full sandbox. That is going to give the entire defense into the system from testing perspective, so that those error won't happen again. Then technician should be able to request help from another print location. That's where that's where that junction object between job and print location will be leveraged. Then technician will have access to view the all the orders print, but only edit those record which has been assigned to their active print location. So I'm going to create 3 criteria based sharing rule to give them the access, read access, but to give them edit access, it will be given via managed sharing. Then we have requirement that's where customer will get access to their own orders, print job and issues. So a small correction, so print job will also be this job record will also be connected to account, so that I can end up leveraging the sharing set. For example, order.contact is equal to user.contacts and so on, so that they can actually end up getting the information needed. Then venue operators should have access to all orders, print job associated to their venues, as venue and job are not directly associated. As well as order are not associated, it is going to be traversed by multiple object. That's where managed sharing will be the handy solution here. Then technician manager will review all print job requests in danger of the shipping date. That's where I am going to use a standard report that will be you and I am going to send an email using that standard report that is created on a custom report type using the settings of the report folder via automated email sent to those people, so that they can see if there is any such missing ship date issue is not. Now let's talk about the banner installation. So in the banner installation, we'll have uh, multiple mobile devices will be used. That's where we those will have a cache features. That's where I am proposing a native app. I had thought about the mobile publisher, but it provide a limited cache capability, so native app would be the appropriate solution. Then venue operator will get access to report, to create a report on the banner, and being a CC plus license, they can easily do so. But being this object is LDV, we need to make sure that multiple filters being used, so that they'll just be able to see the associated record to the updated event, and we need to create a custom report type. Event can have means during the event, operator and customer can reach out to this the technician via multiple sources. Like for email, that's where we are leveraging email to case. For SMS, we are going to leverage SMS magics for inbound as well as outbound messages. For call features, we are going to use service cloud voice with Amazon Connect, and we are going to use live agent for chatting feature via portals. Then issue are managed primarily through emails, and that's where those need to be synced, and we are going to use the Einstein activity capture to have this Outlook integration being successful. And they would like to also have each and every issue being managed in a time sensitive manner and being actioned within the defined SLA. That's where there will be an entitlement process being defined, and entitlement being created for each and every uh, customers. And we'll have multiple entitlement we'll have multiple type of milestones, and entitlement process will be used to trigger those milestone events, so that push notification can be sent to the event sales rep on their mobile device. For resolving the collaboration, I am proposing to use the chatter, and technician manager going to get the access to the CRM analytics to see the case state trend report by print location and issue type. PSR people should be able to view all the customer to improve the onboarding effort. That's where I'm going to use the criteria based sharing rule, and their license allow it. Then all the issue history, that is huge bulk data volume, needs to be accessed by the technician. That's where I'm going to give them the CRM analytics license, and they can end up getting the information from EDW as well wherever needed. And then there is a requirement that each and every PSR information needs to be captured, whether that PSR people are still active user or not. That's where I am going to capture that information by creating multiple fields called original name, original ID field, so that that information would be lost. Now let's talk about the expansion side of things. Before that, let's go and have a look at the migration. So as already told, we are going to leverage ETL that will do the dedupe, standardized, clean, and all those sort of things. So we need to make sure that when we are migrating from the old Salesforce system as well as dynamic system, and we need to make sure that the data which is going to be migrated, it is being ordered by parent as well as group by as well as external ID can be used. And then when they are being migrated to Salesforce, we need to make sure that data partial data has been migrated for testing purposes in dev queue and UAT, and for full data has been migrated in the staging sandbox for dress rehearsals and for production. The order of load would be like first users will be created, then account contact and external users are created, then venue records will be created, then the product information needs to be captured and the banners which exist, if exist, needs to be created in Salesforce, as well as they'll be created in the data warehouse. Then if any open lead is there, those will be migrated. Lastly, the sales object and followed by the issues. The approach I'm going to follow is like big bang approach followed by the delta load, and before the load I am going to use the defer sharing, as well as OWD will be set as public read write, and we will disable any of the automation if they are using the frameworks. And once that this migration is completed, we are going to enable the sharing, as well as we are going to update the record to the correct OWD. So the first and second requirements talks about the bulk data volume with on which we need to do the trend reporting. That's why I'm proposing to use the CRM analytics license with the use of instant data capture, sorry, instant discovery, so that they can actually end up getting the information about the future global expansion and all those sort of information. And CRM analytics can actually consume the external sources such as CSV. That's where it is the handy tool. Then we are going to be, this company is going to get the expansion in 2 countries, and they would like to have a proper timeline, and they wanted to have new feature to be backed up by 18 months. So they wanted to have a consistency as well as high quality with low defect work. That's where I am going to use the Jira for backlog management, prioritize the work, as well as Confluence for documentation. And we are going to follow this hybrid project methodology using waterfall plus agile. So waterfall will be used for initial piece of work, like strategy piece of work, and to identify the necessary information to proceed for with the agile way of working, where sprints will be taken place. And there will be these parallel streams which are going to work, that will come under a program owner. That's where data integration, SAP mobile and platform as a parallel stream will keep on working, so that most of the things can be done in this time frame, and with the high quality and low defect. And to manage this quality thing, we have the entire COE owned by executive sponsor. There will be multiple steering committee member, then a single point of contact, that is a program owner, that will be that will have architect review board to help them out with which will have technical architect, solution architect, data architect, as well as on technical side there will be release management people and quality assurance team to manage this defect quality. And there would be business side of people like business SMEs, BAs, change management people, and PMO, which are going to help with this expansion as well as quality delivery. Next, they required frequent maintenance time, so during that time they don't want to have any deployment. So that's where this communication will become a highest priority, and all the integration via ESB need to be followed by a retry mechanism handled by ESB, so that any such failures can be handled. Lastly, they wanted to have bug fixes to be done on production whenever those happen, and they don't want to have a subsequent overwritten code in the production. That's where this hotfix branch as well as hotfix sandbox will be handy. And whenever there is a hotfix which being performed, that needs to be merged to master as well as dev branch, and code needs to be deployed to production. And this hotfix sandbox, which is a dev pro, will be used for testing out those bugs. Yeah, that's all from my end. Hopefully, I'll be able to make this project a huge success. Thank you.